What is the default risk? Yes, anyone? Yes, Ashwin, what is the meaning of default risk? Ashwin, are you here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Ashwin, क्या होगा default risk का मतलब?
Hmm.
You're not audible. Loud. Yes.
Hello. I'm audible?
Yes, yes, you
Hello.
are.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ जी, बताओ.
Can you repeat? Hello. Can you repeat the question, ma'am?
What is the default risk in bonds?
I mean, bonds. Must be what the lender takes, the risk lender takes while giving the money.
I didn't get you, बेटा. आपकी आवाज clear नहीं है.
And maybe the risk the lender takes while giving the money to the borrower.
Okay, जितना as far as I could comprehend, you are saying कि lender will not pay the borrower. That is the risk, and most of you have given in the chat box also that it is the risk that the borrower or principal will not be paid. Not the okay. Borrower will not be paying the principal on time. Okay, and not only the principal but also the interest payments. Okay, so it's not only the risk related to the principal amount but also the possibility that the borrower will default on the interest payments. Okay, so Devansh, you have related it to shares. uh, yes, where people short sell and then they are unable to make the payment. But with regards to bonds, it will be related to the interest payments. And yes, Anurag, you have given a perfect definition that the lender takes on a chance that the borrower will be unable to make the required payments on their debt obligation. And debt obligation, again, as I am saying, is the interest payment as well as the principal payment on the maturity. Okay. Now, the only measure of default risk can be that to the credit rating of the company which is issuing the bonds. As I told you, it gives a idea to the investor how safe is their investment. Okay, so a credit rating to some extent gives you an approximate idea of what is the default risk with the issuer. Okay, so coming to practical scenarios where you have a certain appropriation of what can be the probability of default, therein you can calculate the market price of the bond accordingly. Okay. Now, if a bond, as I have repeated in the previous lectures also, if it has a high default risk, then what will be the impact on the price of the bond? Say you have a government bond and you have a corporate bond. इसका price है, all the terms of the bond are the same. Which will have a higher price? A government bond or a corporate bond? Both are 10% bonds. Both have a time period maturity of 5 years. Okay, so Sarthak says कि corporate bond का price higher होना चाहिए, more responses. Okay, both government and a company are issuing bonds with the same terms and conditions. 10% bond है, 5 years maturity है. तो price किसका higher होगा? More risk is there in corporate bond. You are absolutely right. So, will the company offer bond at a price higher than the government bond? Can it offer? Is it possible? No, it is not. ओके, बिकॉज जहां पर रिस्क ज्यादा है उस बॉन्ड को सेल करने के लिए आपको कहीं ना कहीं उसका प्राइस लोअर साइड पर रखना पड़ेगा. सिंस गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड्स आर ऑफरिंग यस यू मोर सिक्योरिटी इज there in government bonds, obviously they'll be selling at a price higher than the corporate bond. Okay, so let's move to this question. There is a 9% government bond having a face value of rupees 1000 and maturity is in 1 year. The bond has a yield of 10%. You have to determine the current market price of the bond. This is the first part of the question. Then you have a similar corporate bond with a default probability of 20%. What will be the market price? So let's start with the first part of the question, that what should be the current market price on a 1 year bond which has a face value of rupees 1000. So the first part, in 1 year you will be receiving both the principal amount and the interest payment. So the cash flow at the end of year 1 will be rupees 1090. That is principal amount, principal, and write PA so you don't get confused. That will be 1000 plus interest, that will be rupees 90. You have to calculate the intrinsic value or what should be the market price. You discount this cash flow for 1 year, 1.10. That is the yield given to you. So discounting will be at yield and you get the market price as 990.90. Yes, the government bond should ideally fetch a market price of 991 approximately. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone. This is with a cent% security, cent% surety of receiving the cash payment in the future. Now the second part says that you have a corporate bond where the probability of default is 20%. That is, the probability of getting the full payment is 80%. So we have two scenarios before us. A full payment scenario and a non-payment scenario with different probabilities. Probability of full payment is 80% or 0.80. For non-payment, it is 20% or 0.20. On full payment, the amount that you will be receiving is 10. Okay. And in case of partial payment, at the time of maturity, at the time of maturity on non-payment, you will be receiving 0 payment. Actually, since it is a 1 year bond, the amount here will be taken as 1090. Okay, so step 1 in this part is to calculate the expected payment on the bond. Okay, so 80% chance that you receive 1090 as the payment at the end of first year. So 1090 with an 80% probability means that You are expecting a payment of 872. That is 0.80 into 1090 plus 0.20 into 0. Okay. Now this is the payment that is expected at the end of year 1, and you are calculating the intrinsic value at 0.0. So intrinsic value or market price will be 872 divided by 1.10. So how much is the price coming to? Please calculate. How much is the price coming to? Yes, 792.72. So you can see there is a vast difference, approximately 200 rupee difference between the price which the government bond will be fetching and the price which the corporate bond will be fetching. And basically the reason for difference is that you are having a probability of default with a corporate bond which is not there with a government bond. Okay, I hope this is clear to everyone. We move to the next question on default risk. So there may be cases where there is a partial payment risk. So partial payment means, especially with respect to bonds with lower credit risk, credit ratings, there is a probability of partial payment. That is, if the risk of default is high, then the lending company, sorry, the borrowing company, because the company which is issuing bonds is actually borrowing from the investor, then the borrower might enter into a swap agreement with a third party. Okay, what is a swap agreement? What is a swap agreement? Anyone has heard
Ma'am,
about?
can I take a guess?
Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Ma'am, that it will basically the borrowing company will endorse it to someone else. Like if there's me and there's someone else, and I
Hmm.
have borrowed, so I'll transfer my responsibility of paying to someone else, and then he'll pay the lender.
Yes. So to a large extent, you're right. Basically, to cover the risk in the security, you are outsourcing the risk through a swap agreement to a third party. Now, obviously, if this facility is being given to the investor will be paying some premium for the swap facility. Now, this is a very simple kind of explanation. The swap arrangements are more popular in the interest rate derivatives and your currency derivatives. So there, when we study those topics, there I'll explain you in detail because it is a complicated topic, but it is one of the manners in which you can hedge the risk. Okay, like Anurag has given, it is an arrangement between two counterparties to exchange financial instruments or cash flows or payments for a certain time. So as I was saying that in case of interest rate derivatives, what is done is that there are two counterparties. One has taken a loan at floating rate of interest. Floating means one which keeps changing with the market rate. Okay. So if the market interest rate is increasing, interest on your loan will increase. If it is falling, then interest on your loan will be falling. falling. Then the fixed rate of interest is one which remains the same irrespective of the changes in the market interest rate. So there may be counterparties who swap their interest payments. Okay, they who exchange their interest payment. Now, any exchange in such manner is obviously reducing the risk. Okay, so the working and everything, I think I'll give you a better overview in the next unit, because that is again based on derivative market. There I'll give you some reference. Else we'll do this in the next semester in detail when you do your paper on international economics. There you have swaps in detail. Swap arrangement कैसे work करता है. Okay, but for the time being you can understand this is a risk hedging tool wherein there are two parties who are exchanging their cash flows. And when I talk about the bonds, here we are talking about cases where you are outsourcing, the issuer is outsourcing the risk of default to a third party. So if the issuer defaults on the payment, then the third party will make some payment to the investor. Let's read this question. There is a zero coupon corporate bond. What is a zero coupon bond? One which is not paying any interest. You issue the bond at discount and it is redeemed at par. The difference being the return given to the investor. Now this zero coupon bond which has a life of 1 year is available today for 95.05. Now the yield on a similar government bond is 5%. So for the yield, for you people, yield right now is the discount rate which you will be using on the bond. If the bond defaults, the investor can expect only 40% payment, that too under the swap arrangement. So if the company fails to make the payment, then there is a third party, a swap dealer, who will be making only 40% payment to the investor. Okay. So what is the probability of default and what are the conclusions drawn from this arrangement? So let us start. We start with the same step. You have two scenarios. One is where you will be receiving full payment. Okay, now here you are not given any risk of default. Okay, so there is no risk of default. So we say that probability of full payment is P and probability of partial payment is 1 minus P. On full payment, the amount received to be received after 1 year will be rupees 100, because as I told you this is a zero coupon bond, so you will be receiving the face value after 1 year, while if there will be partial payment, then you are expecting only 40%. That is, the amount received will be rupees 40. Okay, so your first step is to calculate the expected payment after 1 year. Please go ahead and calculate what will be the expected payment after 1 year. Yes. Expected payment will be 100 P plus 40 minus 40 P probability into amount. So that gives you 60p plus 40. This is the expected payment at the end of year 1. Now you can put this in the formula for intrinsic value and you will get 95.05 is equal to 60p plus 40 discounted at 5% rate of interest for 1 year. Okay. So the market price should ideally be equal to the intrinsic value of the cash flows expected from the bond. And what are you expecting from the bond? A payment of 60p plus 40. So when you equate like this, you will be able to get the value of P, that is the probability of full payment. Please solve this equation and let me know how much is the probability coming to. Okay, so it is coming to 0.996, okay, or 99.6%. So the probability of full payment is very high. Is a 99.6% probability that you will be receiving rupees 100 at the end of year 1. Okay. So Piyush, it is 99.67%. Okay. So this might be 666. Okay. Then you can calculate the probability of default. So 1 minus P will be 0.003 or again 0.33%. So if I see, then this corporate bond is a very safe investment because the probability of default is very low, which means that the credit rating which would have been assigned to this bond would be a good credit rating because it seems to be a safe investment. And if I compare the price of this bond with a government bond, they will be close enough. Okay, because there the probability of full payment is 100%, here it is 99.67. तो ज़्यादा difference नहीं होगा एक similar government bond और corporate bond के price. Okay, so this is how you solve the questions on default risk. Okay, I hope everyone has solved this. We move to the next concept under bond. So till now we have covered how bonds, how default risk affect the price of the bond. Next concept which we cover now is bond duration. Okay, so bond duration, what do you mean by bond duration? So can anyone recall what was the payback period under capital budgeting? All of us have covered financial management and the techniques of capital budgeting. So there was a concept there, a technique there by the name of payback period. Yes, Kabir.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Kabir. Can you recall what capital budgeting was?
Capital budget, ma'am. Let me think once.
Hmm? Okay, so Anurag has answered the question correctly, that it is the amount of time
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
required to cover the cost of investment. So basically, capital budgeting was about investing in fixed assets, long-term assets, and there one of the techniques was that you calculate the payback period, that is the time in which you can recover the initial investment made in the project. Okay. So similarly, bond duration is the time period in which you can recover back the principal invested in the bond. Okay, so the time in which the investor can recover the investment made in the bond is the bond duration. And like a payback period, the investor would prefer a bond which has a shorter duration. Okay, because bonds with longer duration carry more risk, carry a higher interest rate risk. Okay, why? Because the time period to recover your investment is longer. So more are the chances that there will be adverse interest fluctuations in the market. So every investor would prefer a bond which has a shorter duration over other comparable bonds in the market. Okay. So the fourth point says that interest rate and bond prices, they move in the opposite direction, which I hope by this time is clear to everyone. Also, as I told you, the increased bond duration increases the sensitivity of the bond price to interest rate changes. Now this uh, graphical representation gives you the difference between maturity and duration. Maturity का मतलब होता है वो टाइम पीरियड जिसके लिए आपने बॉन्ड इशू करा है या आपने बॉन्ड परचेज करा है, दैट इज द लेंथ ऑफ टाइम over which you are expecting some cash flows and at the end of which you are expecting the principal repayment by the issuing company. On the other hand, I told you duration is the time in which you are able to recover back the principal payment. So for a zero coupon bond, which is not giving any cash flow over its maturity, over its time duration, over its life. Okay. A zero coupon bond which is not giving you any cash flow over its lifetime will have a maturity equal to the duration. क्योंकि आप जो भी रिकवरी कर रहे हो वो आप मेच्योरिटी डेट पर ही कर रहे हो. On the other hand, a vanilla bond. Now, vanilla is the simplest form of bond, or a straight bond will have a duration which is lesser than the maturity of the bond. So, in terms of a normal bond, you are able to recover the principal, your duration is shorter than the maturity time of the bond. Okay, moving ahead. So here I have explained you that interest rate risk will be higher with a longer duration bond. Why bond duration matters? Because it will help you predict how sharply the market price will change with respect to interest rates. Okay, so this I will explain when in detail when we take up the practical questions, because bond price change होने से interest rate movement कैसी होगी और duration कैसे change होगा, that I think would be more clear when we take up practical questions on the same. Through the formula, I'll explain you how the movements are affecting each other, how the different terms are affecting each other. So let us first start with simple calculation of bond duration. For that we use the weighted average formula. The formula is before you. So a simple duration or a Macaulay duration is PVI divided by V into TI. Okay, which is also referred to as duration is wait for individual cash flow into the time of individual cash flow. And how do you assign weights to each cash flow? It is the present value of that cash flow upon the overall value. Okay, so present value of an individual cash flow upon the sum total of present values. So let's start with a simple question on bond duration, and the concept will be more clear to you. So we start with this question. Calculate the duration of a 7% bond having a face value of rupees 1000 and maturing in 3 years. So let us start. Step 1 is that you calculate what are the cash flows expected from the bond. So year 1, 2, 3. Okay. Annual payment, you are receiving interest annually on the bond. So your time period TI is also 1, 2 and 3. And after that, what is the cash flow you are receiving? Okay, these are the cash flows. The next step is to calculate the present value of these cash flows. Okay, so when I have to calculate the weight of each cash flow, I need to calculate the present value of the cash flow. So here we'll take the present value at 7%. I give you the 7% value, present value factor at 7% for 3 years. So this is 0.935. So 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 this is how you calculate the weights. I'll write the formula here. Again, the duration is weight summation weight into PI. And weight, as I mentioned there, it is PVI upon V. Okay, so now you have the weights before you, and you also have the the time period before you. You need to put the values in the formula to calculate the duration. I'll just write the formula. So weight, the total of weights will be, yes, we'll be doing modified duration after simple duration. Practice all the cases of simple duration and then we cover modified duration. Now the sum total of weights, as I had written, will be equal to 1 always. So just round it off in that manner that you get the total as 1. Weight for the first cash flow is 0.065 and time is 1 plus second time period into second weight plus third time period into the third weight. This will give you what is the duration of the bond. Please complete this. What is the answer coming to? .809. So your unit of measurement is years. So the bond is having a duration of 2.809 while it is maturing in 3 years. So this is a good deal. You are able to recover your investment in 2.809 years. This is how you interpret the answer you are getting. Okay, so this was a simple question. We'll take up more questions tomorrow, and I'll also take up a couple of questions in the feud which we have today.